Alright guys, let's talk about Creature, this fantastic piece of movie filmmaking. As you can probably tell, this film had absolutely no intention of being anything more than what it was, a schlocky B-horror film of the grindhouse type genre. The biggest problem with this film is that you don't know whether or not it was just genuinely bad or that it was just trying too hard to be genuinely bad. The film in and of itself wasn't entirely horrible. Like, there were aspects of it that made me want to like it so bad. The acting actually wasn't horrible. There's a lot of characters that I found that was really interesting, and I really liked them. Most particularly the backwoods rednecks, Louisiana rednecks. Love the way they talk. I love their mannerisms, and they're just caricatures and wonderful caricatures at that, and they were entertaining. They were incredibly entertaining, probably the most entertaining part of the actual film. Aside from that, the victims' acting, the women's acting, it wasn't bad acting. You can tell there was some good acting there, and you can even tell in the way they acted and the way the film progressed that everybody had an incredibly fun time making this film. Now, the positive points aside, because that's practically all the positive points that they had in this film, the film in and of itself was horrible. And it's, like I said, it came to a point where there was so much schlocky B-movie tropes thrown into it that at one given point you have to stop and question yourself, are they intentionally doing it to be extremely bad, or did it just turn out extremely bad? Because if you look at the camera work, if you look at, like I said, the acting before, if you look at the acting, the camera work, there's potentially capable people doing this film, but it seems like they physically try to embrace the tropes that made schlocky B-horror films so bad, and in that way gave them that charm. But since they use it so often and so much, and they saturate you with it, you're watching the film and you're kind of exhausted by it at one point about how schlocky they've made it. And like I said, you can tell by the ambiance, you can tell by the camera work that it's not a B movie. It's there's a lot of capable filmmaking there, but it's just the capable filmmaking has been made to be this very kitschy, very schlocky, very stupid horror film. Now, one of my biggest points of annoyance with this film was that throughout the whole film, whenever there was a big opportunity to have a very visual effecty, very gory kind of scene, what they actually did is they threw in a series of smash cuts to make it seem I don't know if to make it seem, but to really hide the fact that they didn't really have a visual effects budget. They use some moments where they have some prosthetic limbs and stuff like that, some gory prosthetic limbs, or even blood flying in people's faces and whatnot. But whenever they had the opportunity to really go and really do something very kind of Troma Studios, kind of very Roger Corman, kind of very gory and gross, but schlocky and fake gross, they took that opportunity and they just did a smash cut away from it, so that you see the reactionary shot of a person getting her foot cut off, instead of actually seeing a dummy's foot getting cut off and making that to be extremely gross and gory. And to me, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a schlocky B movie. If one of the biggest staples of schlocky B movies are the extremely gory and just really over the top gory effects and the really fake kind of dummy effects that you see in films like the Troma Studios films and the other Roger Corman type 70s fare. Anyway, I have no idea why this film got a theatrical release. This was a straight to Sci-Fi Channel film, and this is the kind of film the thing about this film that really kills it is that there really isn't anything particular to set it aside from all the other stupid schlocky films that are coming out. Even I can even justify going to see Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. I could justify seeing that because I want to see Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. But Creature, like the creature in and of itself was like is like a shoddy Swamp Thing. There was nothing really big about him in it either. Like it wasn't like he wasn't extremely excessive or anything like that. He was just a man in a suit, and a lot of times like one of his like biggest things was he snuck up behind somebody and gave him a big bear hug. Aside from that, like I don't want to. There's nothing special about that. And there was nothing particularly special about this movie that really set it aside from all the other stupid, tropey, schlocky horror films. So I don't really see this film really surviving. Even like I don't really see like any justification for it having this big like market release because there's nothing to make you want to go see that movie. Especially like I said before, like most of the horror shots, most of the opportunities that you have to have some really gory, schlocky stuff have been wasted with stupid smash cuts. So I don't recommend this film by any means. I watched it for free, and that's probably the most I would ever pay for it, even on Sci-Fi Channel. I don't even think the Sci-Fi Channel followers that really dig this sort of stuff would even remember or even care to watch this film. Anyway, I've been your man on film, and this has been my deconstruction of the horrible, schlocky horror film that is Creature.